East Region, second round. 9-seed Baylor versus top seed Duke. Cooper Flagg, second game back from an ankle injury. Baylor looking for their first Sweet 16 appearance since 2021 when they won the whole thing. Norchad O'Meara rather, in the post to put Baylor down one. Take another look as Cooper Flagg's eye immediately started to swell up, and he would be just fine. A few minutes later, tied at 9. Flagg posted up, loses the ball, but gathers it back and one, count it. Look at that eye starting to swell up, little red, little pink. Duke up 7, Flagg working the screen, pull up 3, puts the Blue Devils up 10. Minute left to go in the first half. Duke now up 13. They would end the half on a 24-6 run, and they started it trailing by 1. Sion James to Flagg. Blue Devils 26-0 all-time in the NCAA tournament when leading by 15 or more at the half. You see Flagg splits there after missing the last 2 games of the ACC tournament. It's a 20-point game. Con Knipple to Tyrese Proctor. First Duke player with 5 or more made threes since John Shire did it in 2010. And that team won the national championship. A few minutes later, Flagg to Proctor. Finished with a game-high 25 points and 7 threes as the Blue Devils win this one 89-66. They go to the Sweet 16 for a second straight season, and they try to do better than they did last year as they did reach the Elite 8 in 2024. For Proctor, second most made 3-point field goal by a Duke player in NCAA tournament history. He tied that mark. And when you have a performance like that, you catch up with Tracy Wilson after the game.
I mean, Tyrese, wow. I mean, you are him. The last 2 games here in Raleigh, 44 points, 13 of 16 threes. How locked in are you playing right now?
Yeah, extremely. I mean, I'm just playing confident, playing free, and shots are falling, so it's good.
How much does your experience in the tournament help?
Yeah, huge. I feel like I'm just the steady leader of the group, and it's my job to make sure everyone's level-headed and keep playing how we've been playing.
It was tight early, but then you guys broke it open. What really was the reason for that?
Yeah, things we talked about before the game, defense and rebounding. Once we picked up those 2 things, I mean, we went on the run into half and had all the energy going in the second.
Back to the Sweet 16 for you. Your thoughts on that one?
Can't wait. It's going to be somewhere up north, so we can't wait, and hoping to get another one.
That somewhere up north is Newark. Good luck.
Appreciate it. Thank you.
By the way, Proctor's 25-point performance joining Bobby Hurley and Christian Laettner to score 25 or more in a tournament game and less than 10 made field goals. Most wins by 20 or more in D1 the past 70 years. You see Duke highlighted there, along with themselves, other Blue Bloods, and, of course, the Gonzaga team from a few years back. All right, let's go to Duke now.
We are now ready to go ahead and begin the Duke portion of the press conference. If we could start with a opening statement from Coach Shire, please.
Well, for us, the preparation for this game started with great respect for Scott Drew, his program, you know, how good of a coach he is, his coaching staff, their players, they have really good talent. So for us, to win by this margin, I think speaks to the level of killer instinct that our guys have, the competitiveness and the connectivity. You know, I thought guys did a great job. Last 2 games, my math is right, you know, we have, I think, 38-8 assisted turnovers. You know, obviously that's a big deal. I may be off by 1. If I am, tell me. Am I off? I'm off by 1, I think. Yeah. 39. Even better. Even better. But I thought, you know, again, Cooper back, you know, these last couple games, he's had a great way about him. And then Tyrese, I mean, look, it's the obvious, the shots. I mean, big-time shot making. But I think he's just been competitive and great leader, setting the tone every day with what we're doing. And so really proud of this win. Sweet 16 sounds great. We know it's a quick turnaround, but we're going to enjoy this one tonight and then get back to it.
All right, at this time, we're going to open the floor for questions for student athletes. Go to 4th row first and then we'll go over here.
Rod Baxley, Fayetteville Observer. Cooper, how do you describe what you saw from Tyrese tonight in these last few games?
Yeah, I mean, I think when Tyrese plays with the type of confidence that he's been playing with, I mean, really, this whole second half of the season is just really good for our team. I mean, he's just such a talented player, such a weapon for us when he's, you know, being confident and looking for a shot.
Okay, in the front row.
Royal Howell, the Juice Network. Tyrese, this question's for you. Just talk about that killer instinct. I think this is the most three-pointers a player's made since 2001. That team won a national championship also. But just speak on just that killer instinct that you have and just coming out with the dog mentality.
I think it's just my preparation. Just behind the scenes, putting in the work and trusting myself. And, I mean, when I'm on the court, just playing free and just having fun out there. Just trying to cherish every moment I get with these guys and just having fun.
Okay, Jaden in the fifth row, and then you're going right behind him.
Yeah, hi, Tyrese. Dan Walken from USA Today. I know your first couple years at Duke, you've had some ups and downs. I was just curious, sort of how you maintained your level of, commitment to the program, maybe not wanting to, try something else, and just going all in with this group and having the belief that it was going to, click for you at this level.
I think from a young age, I've never been the person to sort of jump off a ship in a sense. Just trusting myself, obviously trusting Coach Shire and the program here. But I mean, everyone's on a different journey, and whether it's 1 year, 2 years, 3 years, 4 years, just making sure I'm level-headed and always trying to get better every day.
Okay, on the edge here, one row back, and then we'll get David.
Tyrese, according to NCAA stats, you joined some rare company with Coach Shire. You're the first Duke player to shoot a hit 5+3.
They don't think I can play at all. Can you say that one more time?
First Duke player to make 5+ three-pointers in back-to-back NCAA tournament games.
What was the question?
Since 2010. How does that make you feel knowing that you joined Coach Shire?
I mean, it feels great. Everyone's been calling him White Mike for the past 2 weeks. But no, I'm just really proud of our group and proud of the way we came out and responded in that second half.
Okay, standing up back there, David. There you go.
Tyrese, David Teal with the Virginia Pilot. It's a 35-30 game with about 3-4 minutes to go in the first half, and you guys close on a 12-0 run. What kicked into gear there to get you guys some separation?
Definitely the things we spoke about pregame, just rebounding and playing defense. I mean, when we stick to our defense, stick to our habits, we're a really hard team to score on. And, I mean, once we started getting loose balls and rebounds, we could push in transition and play our offense.
Okay, good. Aaron right in there.
Aaron Beard with the AP. This is for you, Tyrese. You were 0 for 10 in your first 2 games in the ACC tournament from 3. I'm curious, when you were shooting in those games, did it feel good at the time? Did you have to tweak anything, like a reminder of something foundational with your shot, or is this just sometimes the way it gets going?
Yeah, I mean, it's just the way it's the way it goes. Obviously, it was 0 of 10, like you said, and I mean, just sticking with it, putting in the work, just trusting myself was a big thing.
Other questions for students?
2 down, 2 to go for the Duke Blue Devils to get to the Final Four in San Antonio. They made it look easy against Mount St. Mary's, and then Baylor today. Duke and Newark, New Jersey in the Sweet 16 will take on the winner of Oregon and Arizona in the next round on Thursday. Well, things are going good when you shoot lights out of the NCAA tournament as Duke dominates Baylor. And for Tyrese Proctor, it's great when you're on a list that's even better than Bobby Hurley and Jason Williams. 13 threes through 2 games of a single NCAA tournament. That's better than those other 2 Duke Blue Devil legends did. And afterwards, his head coach Jon Scheyer talked about his performance.
With Tyrese as a coach, how do you handle when somebody, their first couple years maybe doesn't live up to the expectations and all the things that go with that, especially in this era?
Well, I think it's what I'm most proud of, or as proud as anything, with the journey Tyrese and I have been on, because it's harder to go through those journeys now, and Tyrese, I took over in April, and Tyrese and I had a call May 31st to come a year early, and sorry. I think we knew there'd be some rough patches, reclassifying, but there were his first year. But he had some big-time moments. Like, he came on strong down the stretch, and he could have made a decision to even go pro after his freshman year, a year early. And I think he and his family, his mom and dad, they had such maturity to understand it's more important to be ready than just be drafted. And so he doubles down, comes back, huge expectations, and me and Tyrese both would say his sophomore year didn't go the way we wanted. And I think that's where it's easy to split. And I was not in a convincing mode, I think, after that season. I was just matter of fact where I saw it for him and the opportunity, and just we had honest conversations like we always do. But I think the difference is for a guy in that position to take it as opposed to making excuses or running away from it. I think that's the special part. And so for this to happen for Tyrese, to be, hitting 7 threes and to be our key guy and all that after going through all these moments, like if I'm an NBA team, I'm going after him because you have to handle adversity. And I think that speaks a lot to his character, and then obviously our relationship. And I think in this era, you guys cover this, you understand the challenges and NIL and transfer portal and all that. It's still to have the relationships you can build with a guy for 3 years and go through a lot. And I'm obviously really proud of him.
Jon Scheyer, by the way, 87 wins and counting in his first 3 seasons as Division I head coach. There's the graphic I was talking about. Tyrese Proctor, better than Bobby, better than Jason. Hard to do, but he got it done. Made a record on Sunday. Hey there, folks. Tommy Tran, B.J. Taylor, and Mike O'Donnell continue to be with you throughout the day here on HQ, and it is a final. Some are calling this win convincing, dominant, impressive. Mike, how would you characterize today's win?
I'm okay with all those adjectives.
Okay.
Yeah, that was pretty ridiculous in terms of overall efficiency for Duke, especially in the second half. Baylor played it great in the first half. They're really good. Duke was just elite. They were, in the second half, they were exactly what we thought that they were going to be. I know BJ is really high on the Blue Devils.
Yes, I am.
For a number of reasons. Yeah, but so Duke is, BJ, they've got, how many pros does Duke have on the team?
4 or 5.
4 or 5,
Easy 4 or
right?
5. I mean, Isaiah Evans comes off the bench, and he's a guy who gives them extra buckets when they need it, but he might be a first-round draft pick himself.
The unselfishness of this Duke team. There is no hero ball whatsoever. It's not like Cooper Flagg has to go out and get his 30. Con Knippel doesn't have to go out and get his 20.
Yeah.
I mean, the hero of the game, the MVP of the game was Proctor.
100%.
We hardly even talk about Proctor.
No, we don't.
There are so many weapons. Their unselfishness, they're connected. This is as good of an offense since, we've seen UConn for the last 2 years.
Yeah, I mean, and they complement that with some exceptional defense. I mean, we talked about it at halftime, but their ability to hold Baylor to 37% from the field, only 32% from the three-point line. VJ Edgecombe, Norchad O'Meara combined for 31 points, but they made everything extremely tough on those guys in the backcourt. I mean, this is as complete of a Duke team as we've seen in a long time. I mean, from top to bottom. It starts with Cooper Flagg's play on the court, but also his leadership as their competitive heart and soul. It's rare that you get that, Mike, and I'm sure you can vouch for this. Rarely do you have a guy as good as Cooper Flagg who is also the competitive leader of the team, right? You rarely see that, but that's what he is for this team. When he went out with injury, I said, they're not just going to miss his production, they're going to miss the fact that he sets the tone for that unselfish play that you see and for how this team competes on both ends of the floor.
It always follows if your best player is also your best motor.
Right.
That's a big deal.
Right.
And it's in tournament time, neutral side floor, a 24-hour turnaround, that stuff really matters. We're talking a lot about Duke's offense, and we should, and it's worthy of being talked about at a very high level. Duke's defense is really good.
Yeah.
Really good. Baylor is top 20 in the nation in Ken Palm's adjusted offensive efficiency. They are one of the best offensive teams in the country that look completely shut down for 30 minutes out of a 40-minute game. Duke was awesome on both ends of the floor. I think, and I mean, we haven't talked about is connected to that defensively. Do you know who the tallest roster in college basketball is? It's Duke.
Yeah.
You got to think like Sion James will bring up the ball at point. He's 6'6".
Mason
Proctor
Gillis
is 6'6". Mason Gillis. Con Knippel is 6'5", 6'6". Cooper Flagg 6'9" and can be a point forward. And we haven't even talked about Malawach, who is arguably one of the top 3 rim protectors in college basketball.
Yeah, to an extent. I mean, Duke has been considered one of the top 2 teams in the country for the better part of the last 2 months, them along with Auburn. But I think a lot of people are just starting to see how good this Duke team really is, in large part because the ACC had so few challenging games for the Blue Devils that it was almost like, well, they're doing this to Virginia Tech and they're stifling, NC State, and we're going, well, how good are they? Because they're not playing great competition outside of Louisville and Clemson, the only other 2 teams to make the tournament, along with North Carolina out of that league. I think college basketball is really starting to see now this Duke team is for real. The lack of competition they had in their conference is not affecting them, and you look ahead at what they have moving forward into the Sweet 16 and possibly the round of 8 matchups, they're going to be heavily favored in both of those games no matter who they face.
To follow up on Proctor, who had an elite performance, one of the best they'll ever go down in Duke history, 25 points on 9 of 10 shooting, including 7 of 8 from 3. There's a note there that in terms of Duke players to score 25 or more points on 10 or fewer field goal attempts, it's Proctor, it's Bobby Hurley, and it is Christian Laettner.
Great company.
Yeah, and he's also in great company with the threes, too. BJ, I'll just start with you. It's not like this is coming out of nowhere here, but over the last 3 games, he has played particularly well. What has stood out to you about Proctor's play?
I mean, I think the way that he's playing with confidence, right? This guy's going out there now. He's really taking the reins as that guy in the backcourt along with Con Knippel. You can obviously lean on him as well. But I think even though Con Knippel is the better pro prospect, this is the guy that needs to steady them as they move through the NCAA tournament. He has the experience, he has the talent, and right now he's playing with the confidence.
Proctor's a role player for Duke.
Yeah.
He's a role player.
Yeah.
He's not even like the first option, second option. In some cases, he's not even the third option, depending on the matchup. And that's how deep and good this Duke team is. You're right about Proctor. He looked in rhythm. He was patient. Every single Duke player plays with a tremendous amount of pace and balance. They're never rushed. Everybody makes the right decision. It's an extra pass. It's the hockey assist. And the other dangerous thing is, this sounds like a very simple, obvious thing. Every single player on the floor for Duke can hit jumpers off the bounce.
Yep.
And in an NCAA tournament game, when things aren't going well, neutral site floor, you might be down or whatever, if you don't have guys that can hit shots off the bounce, that comes back to really hurt you. If you're just a catch-and-shoot team and it has to be found in rhythm, there are ways you can slow that down. Yeah, like a Houston team can take you out of something like that. But one-on-one ISO or in empty side ball screen, shots off the bounce, they got 4 or 5 guys that can do that any given night.
And we would be incomplete if we didn't give a lot of credit to Jon Scheyer. What he's been able to do and continuing to keep this Duke program not only afloat, but continue to thrive the way they are. We know he has tremendous talent with a Cooper Flagg, but what you're speaking to, Mike, is not just talent. These guys are extremely well coached, all right? And when Coach K left this program, there was uncertainty around whether or not Duke would continue to roll. Jon Scheyer has continued to keep this program rolling. They'll be headed to their first Sweet 16 without Coach K at the helm. We've got to give a lot of credit to the man at the helm now of the Durham Fighting Blue Devils.
Duke is getting ready, of course, to move on to the next round, and it's not like the Gonzaga team that was unblemished coming into the national championship game. Duke does have defeats. There's just not very many of them this year. So you win your first 2 games, and you win them convincingly. How do you avoid a letdown? How do you avoid the natural urge to think you're comfortable, Mike?
Well, the first thing we have to say is those 2 games we just saw from Cooper Flagg, he's not even fully healthy yet. I mean, I'm not trying to like sidestep your question, but it's like Duke isn't even at 100%. Because Cooper Flagg is still playing on a sprained ankle. We don't even know the severity of it. When you get you saw when that ankle turned. That was a major issue, and so he's not even 100%. So we're watching Duke dismantle a top 20 team in adjusted defensive efficiency with their best player and the #1 pick in the upcoming draft at not 100%.
Yeah, I mean, I said it earlier about Florida, but I'm going to say it again about Duke. when they play to the Duke standard, which is the level of basketball they can play at night in and night out, with the way they can impose their will on teams defensively, as efficient, as many shot makers as they have offensively, if they play to the level that they can play, they won't run into any real trouble until they potentially land a Houston matchup there in the Final Four. Houston's the only other team right now that they're going to play in this NCAA tournament on this side that could give them trouble, saying Duke plays to their standard, Houston plays to their standard. Now it's a toss-up, right? Nobody else over here on the east side of the bracket, if Duke comes to play, Cooper Flagg gets fully healthy, should give them any trouble. So that's the message Jon Scheyer is going to have to his group. It's as much as we're going to focus on our opponent and whoever we're playing against, Duke has a standard of basketball that they need to play to, and when they play to that level, there's not a lot that many teams can do with them.
Possessions late in game and spacing got fixed. Yeah. If you can go back into the Wayback Machine and you look at those losses to Kentucky and Kansas very early in the season, before even December, those losses were both in November. Everybody complained that Cooper Flagg doesn't have it. Yeah. They double-teamed him. He dribbled into a crowd. Knipple is really good. He's smooth, but he gets bumped. He doesn't know how to make plays at the right time. Those two guys are gone. They're gone. It's not the same player. So, yes, you have to look at Knipple and Flagg of saying, boy, they got better. But it doesn't just, you don't just show up in the gym and just get better. Like Jon Scheyer figured out ways to use Cooper Flagg and Con Knipple in the exact way that the Duke system needs him to play inside of. And we forgot about how much conversation in November and December was, I mean, Duke's talented, but I don't know. Are they tough enough? Do they have it in late game? Yeah, they got it. They figured it out. And that, to me, is an enormous compliment to Jon Scheyer. Yeah,
I mean, when you watch this Duke team play, you would think these guys have played together for 2 or 3 years. You wouldn't think this is an assembly of mostly freshmen and a transfer from Purdue, and Mason Gillis, with the way that they play connected, with the way that they play together, and the way that they have spirit. Mike brought up the Duke system. They also play with the Duke spirit. All right, if you go back to the days when Jon Scheyer played, you go back to the days of Jay Williams and Greg Paulus, those Duke teams played with an amazing spirit and fight and competitiveness. Jon Scheyer has instilled that same level of fight in his team, and they've done it quick, fast, and in a hurry.
We're starting to see the ceiling and potential of this Duke team, which, by the way, Jeremy Roach was on the other side of Baylor. They kind of let him walk out because they knew what was coming in, and it was a really good talent coming in here on this Blue Devil team. A reminder, of course, about what's coming up. Duke will play the winner of Oregon and Arizona, an old Pac-12 matchup in the East region there. It's March Madness Live. You can watch every men's game live. Still do it right now. Smartphone, tablet, computer. Sign up and get situated and enjoy.